Rugby World Cup France against Italy, folks. Pretty convincing from the home side. 60 points to 7. Italy are gone and France have booked themselves a spot in the quarterfinals. Top spot in Pool A. Pretty convincing. We'll go through some key events and stats and whatnot, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But so many tries through the French backs. Man, those forwards do so much work. Tighten up the opposition defense and then they spin it wide. It's just seemingly too easy for them. Efficiency down the opposition end is pretty good. And defensively, oh my goodness. Quite a shift from the French. And Italy will be a bit disappointed, man, because it's not like they didn't have chances in this game, but geez, they found it really hard to break the French guys down. Less than 2 minutes on the clock. And France were on the board. I mean, again, bunch of phases from the initial kind of Italian kicks on the kick return. And it's just French patience, skills on the ball. Woki ends up popping it to Ramos, who gives it to Penaud for the first try of the game. 7 points to 0. Great way to make sure the crowd gets behind them. And the crowd was very vocal for this one. Just take the wind out of the Italian sails. They really needed to have a good start, Italy, but they didn't get it. And then Fiver, a few minutes later, concedes a penalty for advancing in front of a kick. It's a soft penalty to concede. Ramos makes no mistake. So 10 points to 3, 5 minutes in. It's already looking like a pretty tough job for the Italian guys at that point. Then Ferrari concedes a penalty for being offside in the French half. It's soft. It puts his team under pressure. He's kind of lucky that when France attack, they Penaud is going through a big gap. And again, when he scored his first try, he's on the left wing, even though he's right winger. He's on his left again. He puts a kick through for Bielle-Biarrey. Maybe he put that one through the hands, but it ends up going into touch. So it seems like a bit of a let-off for the Italians. But a few minutes later, he puts another kick through, this one over the top for Bielle-Biarrey. And goodness me, how the heck did he avoid the Italian defenders? The steps from Louis Bielle-Biarrey is unbelievable. You can see why he is now in the side ahead of Villiers. I mean, Allen and Varney just looked like they were stuck in the mud. Just way too slick. So 17-0, it's the best start that France could have asked for. And Italy, man, sometimes it's just mistakes, like soft penalties being considered, like Lorenzo Canone, when they finally had some carries. And they weren't really going anywhere, but they at least had some possession. And then he leads with the forearm. It's like a really soft penalty to be conceding. It just puts more pressure on the Italian guys. They managed to stop the next wave of attack, but they had a line out on their own 5-meter line. And France are able to kind of sack them at that line out. So it's a turnover, like a maul turnover. And it's back to French possession. You better believe that's going to lead to a try. They pass it wide. Again, the slick hands, maybe a little bit fortuitous because it didn't seem totally planned, but they've still got the presence of mind and the skills to make the most of a kind of loose ball. But, I mean, Penaud to Fickou to Ramos. Ramos finishes it off 24-0. It's not quite as bad as the game against the All Blacks, because at least the Italian guys did seem to keep fighting. But the error rate and the penalty rate was just too high, and sometimes you just can't stop the French guys when they're doing these crazy things. I mean, they did finally, in the latter period of the first half, actually get some momentum, Italy, is what I mean. They didn't just let their heads drop. They kept fighting. Rutzer with a really great one-handed take at line-out time. They get it to Brex, who offloads to Capuozzo, who goes into a big gap, so it's a line break from him. He gets it to Tommy Allen, who puts the hammer down, but he can't quite get away from the French defenders, and as he's looking to offload, gets tackled, so he loses the ball forward, but at least they're getting some go-forward ball after having not a lot going on. And then they go through 11 phases, the Italians, when they had some position, not really going forward, but they forced the French defenders to concede a penalty, which is an Italian chance, man. They kick it into the French half. It's a chance. They maul it. They go through 17 phases before Ferrari is able to dot the ball down. But Ferrari's name's not on the board because they TMO'd that one. This one was a little bit frustrating because it's one of those ones that's technically correct, but not the kind of thing we really want TMOs stopping games for, because it's just a penalty. If we had the TMO intervening every time there was a penalty conceded off the ball that was missed or something, I think we would have a lot more stoppages than we do. For mine, ideally, I want the TMO to be stopping, like, if there's been a foot in touch or they've knocked it on, like something totally blatant, or like a red card offence, or even maybe a yellow card offence. Maybe Marius Jonker thought this one was a yellow card offence. But you also heard I think it must have been one of the French players mentioned to the ref that there was a clean-out prior to the Ferrari try that they wanted to look at. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard Carl Dixon mention it to Marius Jonker, like, just have a look. They want to look at a clean-out. So Marius is under instructions to have a look for the clean-out. Whereas the ref, I guess, could have told them to go away. He looks for the clean-out. There is a clean-out from Ferrari on Lucu. The ref initially wants to give it a yellow card, saying it's like contact with the head, but then they rule it's like chest that kind of goes to the head. So either way, the assistant refs talk him down to a penalty only, so there's no score. But like I said, it's not really the kind of TMO check that I want to see stopping the game and ruling off a try. Like I said, it's technically correct, but yeah, it's just an intervention which slowed the game down and robbed the Italians of a try. If it had been my team, it would have been a close game. Would I have been complaining? Maybe not, but I hope you guys know what I mean. France conceded another penalty, though, and then Italy, with that chance to get themselves back in attacking position, Garbisi just kicks it dead. So, I don't know, man. It's just a straight let-off. What can I do for you there? Like, what's Kieran Crowley supposed to do when that kind of thing happens? From that kicking it dead, it's a scrum. From that scrum, Italy concede a penalty. From there, France kick for touch. They maul it, and then Jalibert puts in a heck of a cross kick as he's getting tackled to Penaud, who is unmarked and goes through 31-0. So that's directly, like, you miss touch, and then you're standing on your own sticks. Like, yeah, ruthless from the French. And then Danty wins a penalty at the breakdown before half-time. France opt for a 3, but they missed that one, so it's 31-0 at half-time. Run meters are 229 to 186, so not that different. But possessions 58-42, territories 58-42, clean breaks is 5-1, defenders beaten is 11-2, offloads is 7-2, and turnovers conceded is 4 by Italy, 2 by France. So just ruthless. Clinical. The skills from the French guys, pretty unbelievable in that first half. Penalty conceded 7 by Italy, 4 by France. So, yeah, Italy just not converting anything, and France just not making mistakes. Capuozzo had gone off in that first half as well for an HIA, which he failed. He copped a knee to the head as he was on the ground, and then Lamaro gets subbed in the first few minutes of the second half, and boy, he looked angry. He had like a death look going on in his eyes, but yeah, he gets subbed for Zuliani, who has a pretty good game when he comes on, but yeah, I don't think Lamaro was expecting to be subbed by that point. France won a penalty in the Italian 22 on about 46 minutes. They opted for a scrum. They go through a few phases through the forwards, and then it's the backs who finish it. They did it so many times, man. It was just Jalibert. I think he beat Bricks, and then it was just all wide space open for him. 38-0. Italy did get a maul in the French 22, but then from turnover ball, and it's just this French ruthlessness, man. Turnover ball from that Italian maul down France's end means like a minute later they are scrambling back because there's been a kick through in their own 22 and they concede a penalty. So it's just, you think you're about to score and then you're suddenly on the defensive down your own end. France opt for touch, they maul it, Mauvaka peels off and scores. The only try for a forward in that game, despite the fact that the forwards set up so many of these tries with their big carries and relentlessness. So 45-0. Danty winning another turnover at the breakdown from an Italian chance a few minutes later. And then there's another French try, Telfa Fanua with a big carry, wide ball to Moefana. It's basically rinse and repeat. The forwards work it up, get that space, give it to the backs. Finally, though, Italy did get a try. And this is what I mean about how they kept fighting. Like the desperation for the Zuliani try, which is their only try of the game. They just kept going through these relentless carries. They were actually finally able to get some go-forward ball because up until that point, they would go through like 10 phases, go nowhere, and just have to kick the thing. So, yeah, good on them for showing that bit of desperation. Zuliani with a bit of power to finish it. They celebrated it, but, I mean, it was always going to be just a consolation. Tommy Allen cops a boot to the face, which is unfortunate. He's got a bit of blood. And then Moefana gets his second of the game. 11 phases again. It's the forwards. Just a broken record over here. Alldritt, finally, he looks like he's going to carry standing first man to the side of the ruck. He just pops it back. The backs get it out. And it's Mauvaka again. 57-7. That looks like it's going to be the final score, but they do get a penalty at the death to bring up 60 points. France. Without Dupont, still looked pretty good. I thought Lucu played really well. Run meters 501 to 439. Possession 56-44. Territory 58-42. Yeah, clean breaks 10-3. Defenders beaten 21-9. And yeah, man, the French tackling percentage is at 94, which is huge. 137 tackles. I mean, Italy were at 89%, but some of these tries to the backs, they were just unmarked. So there's no missed tackle. There was just an open space. So it doesn't really reflect there. Penalties considered was also a crucial one for Italy. 16 is way too high, whereas France were at 6. Like, if their discipline's good, they're a really, really hard team to beat. You notice a lot of the teams, like the top teams, like Ireland and South Africa and whatnot, tend to have pretty good discipline counts at the end of the game. Penaud, 81 metres, 2 clean breaks, 7 defenders beaten, 2 tries and an assist. Alldritt, man of the match, 20 carries, 68 metres, 15 from 15 tackles. Goodness me. Negri had 22 out of 23. Morisi had the most defenders beaten out of anybody in that Italian lineup with 2 from the bench. So, yeah, we wait to see who France will play in the quarterfinals next. We'll wait to see if Dupont is going to be back fit and available. Italy, that's their World Cup done. But they've already qualified for the next one by finishing 3rd in the group. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. How do you think this French side is going to go in a big quarterfinal? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.